Good afternoon. If you're on the East Coast of the United States, it's the afternoon. If you're where I am, it's the afternoon. If you're on the West Coast, I guess it's the afternoon as well. But if you're in Europe, good night. Maybe you should be asleep. All right. Wait, let me see. I got to pull up the comments. Pop out chat. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Is that thing focused? There it goes. All right. We're good. Good afternoon, YouTube. Look at all these comments already. Loads of people watching. Loads of people commenting. Michael Weisenauer. What's up, man? Farmer Meemaw, Matt T, Steve Wong, Evolving Aaron B, who's always evolving. Periana Prater, Sarah Mizur. Sarah Mizur, you tune in quite often. What's up, Sarah? Sylvain Bausch, Will Pender, Paolo. Look at everybody. What's up? We got Hungarians. We got people in Central Illinois, Fort Worth, Texas. All right. Brian Street says pregame, PEH. I'm so disconnected. I don't know what pregame. What's the game today? What season is it? What sport is even popular anymore? I don't know. Keith Miley, what's up? Aranga Diaz, what's up? Brian Street, West Coast, what's up? Look at all these people. Mac instead says, hey, keto kids. Okay. Chandra Cat says, I love your Hobbit home. Do we have a Hobbit home, Jessica? Is this our Hobbit home? Look, the windows are Hobbit home. We didn't build this home, but those windows are great. I'd take those windows with me. What's up, Alonta? Jesse and Alyssa, what's up? Beeville, Texas. We got Chicago, Illinois. Lots of people in Illinois. Several Chicago. Or no, you're just shouting yourself out several times. He's just very happy to be from Chicago. He had to declare it 3 times. We got Polish people tuning in. What's up, everybody? Tito Frito. Nice name. All right. Brian Street says pregame for your show. Oh, for me, pregame for me. What does pregame mean? Like when I hear pregame, I think of like college kids, like frat boys, like drinking before, like you drink before a party. Pregame. You get preemptively slightly drunk. I'm not recommending that. I'm just saying that's what that meant to me. And not that I was a frat boy or anything. I'm just thinking of like, I'm just confusing my audience and myself right now. Paolo, what's up? Paolo says lemon water, aloe vera, garlic water, golden milk, apple cider vinegar. Wow. What's all that for? It sounds intense. You got lemon water, aloe vera, garlic water, golden milk, which is, what is it? Turmeric in like a fat infused with turmeric, right? So like you do coconut oil or something infused with turmeric, and apple cider vinegar. That sounds pretty gnarly. What are you doing that for? I mean, it's actually, I'm crazy. I like these types of things. Like that sounds actually like there could be a chance that could have some cool effect in the mouth and not be so off-putting, but that is a lot of ingredients. You guys hear Ryder downstairs? Ryder's making this hangout all about him. Ryder, come up here and talk if you want to talk. You're disrupting the flow. All right. Chandra says, hi, Tristan. Thanks for your refreshing, supportive, chilled out attitude. Why do people around me think I'm chilled out, Jessica? I feel like I'm always just, right? Isn't that fun? It's like people around you think you're chilled out, but then inside, like I'm just constantly just trying to be chill. Just trying to just keeping things on an even keel. Jessica knows I'm not always chilled out. Am I always chilled out, Jessica? No. Not always. But that's the baseline state that we need to shoot for. We need to shoot for that peace. Got to shoot for that sanity, for that clarity, for that balance. You can't go too far to the extremes. Aranga Diaz says, can I drink green tea on keto, Tristan? Some people say don't because stimulants. Okay. All right. So a ketogenic diet, right? So you're asking me if you could drink green tea. Here's Jessica coming to steal the show. She's coming to chill me out. Talking to myself and then thing. All right. So let's see. Can I drink green tea on keto, Tristan? So a ketogenic diet is a diet that's low in carbohydrates. I'll get you in ketosis. So ketosis is a state that arises when you restrict carbs, or when you're just straight up starving and you've got no nutrients at all. Ryder's coming to say hi. What's up, dude? He's naked. He's got a diaper on. Wow. He's not naked. What a day.
Indeed.
So ketogenic diet. Ketosis is achieved through the restriction of carbohydrates, not through the restriction of green tea. You could definitely drink green tea on keto. I don't even want to get into explaining why somebody would say you can't, because I don't understand it and it doesn't really make sense. I could try and rationalize it and give you some explanation on, give you some like empathetic response of like, oh, well, this person probably said you can't drink green tea for this reason. But that's ridiculous. You can drink green tea on keto. Enjoy your green tea. Right on. All right. Mississippi, what's up? William Turner in Mississippi. How's Mississippi right now? It's probably really humid. Probably so humid in Mississippi. Minnesota, what's up? Beeville, Texas. Portland, Oregon, what's up? Okay. All right, let's see. Somebody with a name I can't pronounce with Roman numerals says, discovered your channel just today. Thanks for the great videos. I'm doing keto since January and feel awesome. Right on. Chandra says, your attitude is healthy. Well, thank you. Try to keep it that way, right? But it takes constant maintenance to maintain a healthy attitude, right? Just like it takes constant maintenance to maintain. It takes constant energy input, focus, and attention to have a healthy attitude. It takes constant focus and attention to have a healthy lifestyle, right? I mean, there are certain habits and influences that can be ingrained in our consciousness, which can gravitate towards stress, right? Towards binge eating, towards, eating patterns that are not helpful to the body, or thought patterns that are destructive to the mind, to our relationships around us, and to creation in general, right? Our minds are like these amazing, they're like these scalar energy focusing intensification magnification machines that just magnify the life around us, and there's a full spectrum of experience available for us to magnify through that mind. And keeping a healthy attitude is crucial in being productive, being healthy, being a person that people want to be around, right? Like a magnetic influence on your environment. We all have as our birthright a magnetic influence on our environment. And the subtleties and the profundity and the depth of which we can influence what's happening around us, in us, and in this reality that we share with other people is just profound. So a healthy attitude, Chandra Kratz, you are right on. A healthy attitude is what it's all about, right? I mean, we talk about ketogenic diet a lot, but I always try and bring it back to the basics of like, this is just a tool. A ketogenic diet is a tool. Intermittent fasting is a tool. Time-restricted eating windows. These are tools to use to build habits that can result in health and vitality. But of course, if they're done in the wrong way, with the wrong intention, with confusion, with, just if they're done in a sloppy way, then they can result in excess stress and more drainage of energy, rather than allowing us to, patch up these energy leaks that we have in the body and we have in our consciousness that we're losing constantly through these repetitive habits of activity, and repetitive habits of thought, repetitive habits of speech, and of creation of this thing around us. So we got to dial in our attitude. Got to have a healthy attitude. We got to be looking for ways to expand on that piece, ways to expand on that, just the presence of being here and enjoying this, and of treating this vessel correctly, of moving it correctly, of flowing energy through it, of using our voice in a way that's conducive of a future and a present that we want to be in, that other people want to take part in. That's what this is all about. Oh, Jessica.
That's right.
That's right. We haven't even gotten to have conversations like this together for today, right? Like today's just been work. But you can always come back to this. You always come back to what's really important. And that's the healthy attitude. That's this right here. All right. Enough gibberish. Chandra says keto is a good helper of your cognition. Yeah. A ketogenic diet done correctly can definitely be a powerful tool for improving cognition, for, I mean, just the stability of blood sugar that you get. You know, that fog that most of us are used to experiencing midday or halfway through the morning, or like right when you get out of bed, that fog of like difficulty making decisions, difficulty getting going, difficulty in thinking in clear linear pathways, difficulty in remembering what your last thought was, right? That fog can be greatly affected by dietary changes, by intentionally treating our body well. And a ketogenic diet lowers inflammation, right? Inflammation in the gut, inflammation in the brain, these are linked to depression. These are linked to states that are conducive to bad health, inflammation, whatever you want to call it. And keto and, just a whole foods diet, right? A non-inflammatory diet, removing toxic waste products from the diet can be a powerful tool for improving your health, for feeling better, for performing better. All right. So Eslam says, I'd love to see you and Jason Silva in one room. Me and Jason Silva. Who's Jason Silva? I'm not trying to be a jerk. I don't know what that means. Do you think we'd get along, or do you think we'd have like opinions that are different? Why are you saying that? Do you think I'll look him up. Jason Silva. We're going to be in a room someday. Chandra says it was like food idol worship or something. What are you talking about here? We got a whole question going on. Wow. She's talking about giving up bread and pasta. Sylvain says, I love it when people ask me, but you do eat bread, right? No. What about pasta? You got to eat pasta. You got to eat the pasta. I don't know. Do you have to eat pasta, Jessica? No. You don't have to eat the wheat pasta. You don't have to, right? If you want to, you can. I'm of the opinion, from all the research I've done, from the evidence I've seen, wheat, grains, these things seem to have a negative effect in many people, and perhaps all people, right? I mean, there have been a lot of studies on non-celiac responses to gluten, and even, the non-celiac gluten sensitivity does exist, right? Zonulin actually breaks open the blood-brain barrier that is in your gut. It rips open the gut lining, causes separation in the villi, the microvilli, and the gut lining actually opens up and allows toxins to flow through there that are not supposed to get through when you eat wheat. So if you're eating this constantly, you're kind of getting this constant low level, or in some people, high level inflammatory response. And this can lead to all kinds of issues. And when you look at anthropology, when you look at the human condition, the size of our skulls, the size of the human brain, it's decreased dramatically in conjunction with the addition of agriculture to the addition of agriculture with the takeover of, the human condition by societal structures driven by agriculture. You see a major decline in brain size, right? And very, very interesting. It's almost like the wheat and these agricultural foods are, when you actually look at what they are, I'm all about history. I love history. I'm not all about anything. But I'm very interested in history and looking at anthropology, history, archaeology, looking at changes in human society and human habitation habits. Just this stuff fascinates me, where we came from, where we're going. It's amazing. It's incredible. But when you look at the history of agriculture, of grains as a food source, wheat, stuff like that, it does seem to be linked with the domestication of people, with very, very strong centralization of power and the rise of, the modern, the city state, right? And this has its advantages, of course. You get to create these nice, cushy environments away from the harshness of nature, from the cats, the snakes, the bears, the lions, the dogs that will eat your freaking face without thinking twice, right? You get to create these habitations that are very large, very insulated and protected from that. And agriculture allows us to live in areas that are a little bit more removed from the harsh elements. But what's the trade-off, right? What is the trade-off? I mean, this almost all goes back to like the no, just this goes back to the mythological interpretations of history too. Like what is the fall from the Garden of Eden, right? What is this? But when you look at agriculture, you look at these domesticated foods and the domesticated societies that come with them, there definitely seems to be a trade-off that happens, right? Between the freedom and autonomy of living more connected with the elements in nature. And then the opposite direction is, the dystopian, suburban, urban sprawl, concrete jungle society that, obviously doesn't result in health or longevity either, right? So you got the one end where you're going to get killed by the tigers, or, you step on the wrong thing, or you get bit by a few ants in the middle of the night, you can end up dead. Or the other side where it's like, kind of slow death, breathing dust and concrete all day in a toxic environment that's causing inflammation with domesticated food that's modified and, over the generations, it's been modified for certain traits. And it just so happens that many of those modifications have resulted in perhaps health calamities for us. So, I mean, there's these two polar extremes that we've got to kind of reconcile with in our modern diet, like our ancestors who would live, and this is all debatable too. When you look at anthropology and archaeology, there's been a lot of finds that completely throw on its head the notion that agriculture came about 12,000 to 10,000 years ago, and that at this point humanity started organizing labor in such a way. This I don't know. There's 1,000 different opinions. I wish there was someone else here to bounce ideas off of me about this stuff, because now I'm just babbling about agriculture, history, anthropology.
Right, that people don't get lost in that idealistic thought that like a primal diet is so utopian.
Yeah. So Jessica's saying like you can't get, so we call this channel is called Primal Edge Health, right? A lot of people associate the word primal with like paleo, stuff like that. I like the word primal. Like it's elemental, right? It's like I don't know, the primacy. It's like the core of something, the essence of something, the truth of something, the primal nature of something. That's kind of where I'm going with that word when we came up with this. And then it's fine. I realized later on that there was this, people use it as a marketing term as well. But primal as like, or paleo as a diet. We got to eat like our ancestors millions of years ago. We got to live like our ancestors, right? I mean, there's so many straw man arguments in there that can be easily picked apart. Obviously nobody wants to go back to living in caves, right? We don't want to go back to like huddling from giant bears during the last ice age, and wolves and dogs that are 5 times the size of wolves now, and giant sloths and just massive megafauna all over the place. We don't, although that could be beautiful and cool and but and there's evidence that there were advanced civilizations during that time as well, which throws this all on its head. But we don't want to go back to like living like cavemen, right? But at the same time, we can't continue poisoning the well that we're drinking from and shitting in our nest constantly, right? I mean, the way that the cities that we've built now are working, this is an annoying thing too, like an annoying concept and term. It's politicized, right? But it's unsustainable. Now, this unsustainable term gets politicized and people use it for whatever agenda they want, and end up using it to gain more control over resources and tax the poor even more, and keeping this grid going with, outdated technologies that we don't need to be using anymore, like combustion engines, which are still awesome and fun, but these are outdated technologies, right? So I don't know. 1,000 different directions. I don't know where to go from here. I'm coming back to your guys' questions for some direction. I don't know if I might have to end this soon, guys. It's getting loud in here. The kids are getting wild. So I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm not sure how much of this you are actually even getting. John C says, hi, Tristan. John here from the Bay Area, California. Help me get out of this state. It's going downhill fast. What's happening in California, man? What happened? I got out in 2010. I left California in 2010. What's going on there now? What's happening? All right. Let's see what else. Dean Fay says, would you combine 16-8 intermittent fasting and 24-hour fasting? What would that be? 24 plus 16, 48-hour fasting? Or 36-hour fast? I'm not sure what the question is there. Combining 20. I mean, this is all contextual, right? Would I use intermittent fasting? Well, it depends on the context. In many contexts, intermittent fasting makes it easier not to eat. I mean, historically, throughout our development, right, as the species, as human beings, or however you want to look at this, we naturally go through feast famine cycles. Everything in nature naturally goes through feast famine cycles. Our modern cushy environment allows us to have a constant feast. Unfortunately, that constant feast, for the most part, is on just mass produced industrial waste agriculture products. I mean, this isn't like you're, just feasting on some wild caught meat or some wild caught game that you work to catch that, that's eating its natural diet. The feasting that's going on now is like you walk down to 7-Eleven, you're being healthy today, so you grab some Quest bars. Those are low in calories, low in carbs. They got some protein in them. But it's like you're feeling a little stressed out and you worked really hard out of the gym under the artificial light at 9 o'clock at night. After the long day of work, is leaving you inflamed because you sit in front of the computer and you've got this hunger for extra glucose because your brain's losing all the time. It's not using it properly because you're in a magnetic field that's altered from the technology that we live in, right? If you look at Dr. Robert O. Becker's work, subtle fluctuations greatly affect signaling in the body, right? All your hormones, all your blood vessels, these are all magnetically communicating electrically. Right? So the electric fields in our body are disturbed through magnetic fluctuations in the environment. Magnetism and electricity, they're coupled, right? From every magnetic field is a 90-degree, there's an electrical current. For every electrical current, rather, there's 90 degrees of that, there's a magnetic field. So these are constantly being changed in our environment. So at the end of the day, you're a little bit stressed out. You got your Quest bars, the protein and low calorie. Then you decide maybe I'll have a cheat day. I'll get the protein in from the Quest bars. I'm eating healthy, but I can use some extra carbs on my cheat day because I get one every week or 2 days or 3 days, depending on what I'm doing right now. So then you grab the Ben and Jerry's, and then you can go home, sit on the couch, watch TV, be told a bunch of lies about the reality, about the realm that you live in, about what you are, about where you come from, and about what you're capable of doing. You can listen to all the lies that confuse and distort your perception of this. And then you can be feeling a little bit shitty and depressed for some reason while your commercials are going past you, selling you drugs for feeling shitty and depressed for some reason while you're listening to the lies you're being told about your reality, yourself, and the realm that you live in. And then you decide to have a couple beers, smoke some bong rips, then you're hungry again. You go back to 7-Eleven and you're still eating healthy, so you grab some Quest bars. You end up getting some no-sugar Oreo cookies because they're low in calories, right? Then you go home, you smash those, you fall asleep, you wake up feeling inflamed and hungover from the beer you drank, and you start the whole process over again. That's the reality of the lives that many of us fall into, the habits that we allow ourselves to form within this cushy environment where you push a button and you get a sensory pleasure, right? It's unfortunately, it doesn't result in healthy habits in a lot of people. So intermittent fasting, after all that, come back to intermittent fasting. So I remembered where I was. Keto improvement of memory, perhaps. So intermittent fasting kind of mimics natural situations that we would normally live in where we're not eating all dang day because we have other things we do, other things we enjoy, and because we don't have a surplus of food that we can constantly tap into and eat. Intermittent fasting restricts that eating window smaller. You get used to burning and oxidizing fatty acids during that eating window, and then most people naturally restrict calories, and it just makes it a little easier to eat less, right? When you look at all right, so just an example. Next to me, I'm reading the travels of Pedro Cieza de Leon, and he's a chronicler. So this is written in like I forget what year, 1550 something. He was traveling around Peru what's now Ecuador, Peru, and Chile. Back then it was all Peru. And chronicling, just to pass some of his time, this guy wrote down a lot of his experiences and wrote a lot of the histories of a lot of the native people around. So he actually documented a lot of the customs, architecture, lifestyle habits, and just made notes about a lot of the small tribes that live all around Peru in the Andes and throughout the former Inca Empire, which was in shambles when the Spanish came and delivered that final death blow and threw the area into chaos. But he talks about most of the tribes, whenever he describes their eating habits and their lifestyle habits, most of the people, they would eat in the morning. That was when they would eat. Now, a lot of them would also drink copious amounts of liquor throughout the entire, not even liquor, but chicha, which is more like a corn beer. They'd also drink that throughout the entire day and night. So it's not that these tribal individuals were like the epitome of health and longevity, right? It's not like they were living this idyllic life that was just so beautiful in tune with nature. And then, John Smith came and screwed it all up for poor little Pocahontas. There was things that they did that weren't that healthy, but found it interesting that the natural time of eating throughout most of the Andes, people like to eat in the morning. And then often they'll eat again in the evening, but not always. So the morning meal is the most important. Intermittent fasting, eating in a restricted eating window. Now, the ideal within is going to depend on the context of your lifestyle and of what works for you. But we also know through all the research that getting breakfast in the morning and blunting that cortisol response and the circadian rhythm activation that happens with breakfast in the morning is really important. And people who eat breakfast have better blood sugar control than those who don't. People that eat earlier in the day have better blood sugar control and lose more body fat than those who eat more in the afternoons and in the evenings. So we know that. So if we combine the knowledge we have from a lot of this research, we can kind of come to an idea, as I have, and I've been talking about a long time here, is that intermittent fasting might be optimally executed through an eating window that's earlier in the day rather than later in the day. So yeah, would I use intermittent fasting? Well, it depends on context. For me, when I do keto, I don't always intermittent fast. And I prefer a ketogenic diet. So I prefer higher fat, I prefer fatty, proteiny, salty foods, like savory stuff. I really like it. So I do keto most of the time. I forget where I was even going with this. Intermittent fasting es muy bien, but it's about context. It's all about when you do it, how you do it, and it's all about the individual situation and context. Would I use intermittent fasting all the time? No. When I do keto, usually, this is what I was saying earlier when I got sidetracked. When I do keto, I usually find myself eating in the morning and in the evening and sometimes midday, especially if it actually fluctuates all the time, right? So I kind of cycle the amount of food I eat. I'm not just constantly eating the same level of calories. I do some cycling of my calories, my caloric intake accordingly with my activity. I sync up my caloric intake with my activity levels. So if I've got higher activity levels, if I'm working out, if I'm hiking a lot, if I'm just, putting my body under more stress, I'll increase the caloric intake. Because we also know from the research that high stress situations plus high caloric restriction, rather super low calorie diets, can create an adaptive response in the body where the body's metabolism slows down and it wants to hold on to the fat in the stressful situation. So you don't want to eat too little. So for me, keto can sometimes result in eating too little. Therefore, oftentimes I find myself throwing a meal in the middle of the day to keep me going. And also on a ketogenic diet, the sodium is very, very important. So oftentimes, and people can forget the importance of this, sometimes eating 3 meals a day on a ketogenic diet is way better than doing intermittent fasting, just so people can keep their sodium levels right. Because especially while adapting, insulin causes you to hold on to sodium. Lack of insulin signals your body to release water weight, and then sodium, magnesium, and potassium go with that. So the keto flu thing that people get is due to loss of electrolytes. So eating 3 meals a day where you're getting a significant amount of sodium, getting the leafy greens in, getting those micronutrients in 3 times daily can be super, super helpful. All right. Wow, look at all these. Mutant Stoner, what's up? Steve Wong. Alex Puthoff. Pet Ventures, nice name. Pet Venture says the first person to open a keto cafe in my town will become a millionaire. Huge opportunity on the market. Well, you don't have to do full keto too, right? Like, why? I don't know. It's like to just do a keto cafe, to me, it's so limiting because it's like we have a family, right? So me and my wife eat keto most of the time. Her, like, all the time. Like, I'm keto less than she is, and I'm keto 90% of the time. My daughter, of course, is not on a ketogenic diet. She's 5. My son, 9 months old, not on a ketogenic diet. So, we've got different requirements for carbohydrates or preferences for carbohydrates. And when we eat out, it's nice to be able to order keto foods and to be able to order some stuff that Ariana might want. If she wants some plantains or something or some sweet potatoes with it. It's nice to have that option. But yeah, I agree. There's a huge demand out there for low carbohydrate foods. Look at all the gluten-free stuff. Not that gluten-free makes it healthy, right? Just because it's gluten-free doesn't mean it's good. You still eat a bunch of grains. I don't know. But yeah, there's huge demand.
There's like unprocessed whole foods, organic, high quality stuff.
Christine says, are Quest bars allowed on keto? Great question. So I was mentioning Quest bars in my anecdote earlier, just as a thing where people think it's healthy, right? It's like, oh, it's a Quest bar. It's healthy, right? It's protein. It's low carb, low fat, or whatever it is. Yeah, you can have Quest bars on keto, but why are you going to waste? Here's something Jessica and I talked about earlier today, and it's simple, cheesy, corny-ass slogan that somebody's probably already said before, but it's like, all right, so counting calories, so popular for so long. Let's just count your calories. But for a lot of people, counting calories doesn't work long term because they've got these habits, these desires, these hormonal responses to calories that make them want more. And if you're not being super diligent, just telling someone to count calories doesn't work. So it's like, you count calories, but for a lot of people, if you just make your calories count, so if the food that you do eat, if you make sure that it's nutrient dense, that it's high quality, that it's good, whole, unrefined foods, not creating a huge inflammatory response, that's not creating this huge binge desire, right? Like good tasting, nutrient dense food, but not like the crazy hypocaloric, hyper palatable stuff, the Krispy Kreme donuts and the Ben and Jerry's, which is that's like kryptonite. It's like delicious kryptonite. It's so tasty, so easy to overeat. So it's like with the Quest bars, they taste really good. They're hyper palatable, which can create overeating responses to a lot of people. And they're just not high quality ingredients. It's just like cornstarch and crap like that. I'm not so hyped on the quality of Quest bars. So if I'm traveling, right, what I'm going to put in my car is not going to be a 12-pack of super mocha fudge 12-year-old birthday cake ring pop flavored Quest bar. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go for a can of sardines, wild caught sardines with olive oil, like adult foods, right? Like big boy foods. Eat adult foods, not like freaking candy bar. I'm going to put sardines in there, and I'm going to grab some avocados of various levels of ripeness. I'm going to throw those all in a bag, and that's my to-go emergency food. Throw a shaker of salt in there as well, and that's good, right? Like, shoot, travel for a few days. Give me a few cans of sardines, some avocados, and some salt. I'm good. I don't care about these Quest bars. I'm not so into that, right? For me, it's about maximizing the energy that I get from the food that I eat, right? Like maximizing, not even the energy that I get, but like maximizing the nourishment that I get from what I do eat. So if I want to maximize the nourishment that I get from my food, I'm not going to be eating a lot of Quest bars. I'm not going to be eating a lot of filler foods. I'm not going to be eating loads of, keto candy. I'm not going to be eating kid foods. We get so culturally programmed. This is recent where candy has become a major food group, right? Like this is a new thing. And we need to grow up as people and as a society and get beyond this BS enslavement to this crap. Like this is filth. These are industrial waste products. They trigger like really intense responses neurologically, but these things come at a price, right? And the price is our health, our longevity, or our energy levels throughout the day. We can't just keep eating this junk food and making ourselves inflamed constantly. right? So, these tools like fasting, like intermittent fasting, like ketogenic diet, like just a whole foods based, or like paleo type diets are fantastic. They get you to stop eating the junk food, to stop promoting this crap, right? Quit buying the Disney food. Quit eating Disney food. Quit eating Disney food with your mouth and with your eyes and with your ears. Quit watching that filth. Disney's even taking over YouTube now. The top YouTube personality. And it's probably fake. It's probably, most of these views are probably click farm. This is social engineering, but this dude, like Jake something, he's like the top guy. He's like this Disney star, just promoting being a piece of shit, just promoting living completely disconnected, acting like a child at 20 years old, and then the foods that we're eating too. It's just promoting childish, pathetic behavior. We're above that, right? This is not like something like arrogant, like, oh, I'm so above it. But it's like, look, you can be enslaved to these behaviors, to the marketing of the crap, and you can live off of the Quest bars and the Ring Pops and Cheerios and this filth, the kibble that you feed like domesticated dogs. That's what I see this food as. Here, boy. Here, little baby, come get some kibble. It'll keep you nice and dumb. It'll keep you nice and inflamed. Nice and profitable. That sounded like a mean rant against Quest somehow. Look, Quest bars, they're not quality food. And I'm not saying Quest bars are like Disney food, but I'm saying we need to transcend this this marketing crap, right? This freaking PR bullshit that's created this false reality around us, and this BS diet that's making us inflamed, fat, depressed, and dumb. Like, it dumbs us down. If we're inflamed, if our gut-brain barriers constantly screwed up, we're just sitting there in front of the screens all the time, taking lies and taking it in subconsciously, consciously, at all these levels, taking in the filth, and then watching the kitty teen bopper stars on YouTube, coked up, destroying their house and neighborhood, destroying the place they live at, and acting like it's cool and trendy. It's like, if we keep on this path, what are we gonna have left, right? You're not gonna have healthy bodies left, but barely any of us even do right now. Mutant Stoner, what's up, man? Yeah, it's like, just stay off the junk foods, right? Like, you can make high quality stuff. I'm not saying that, like, artificial sweeteners, all of them are useless and bad, and that some of these foods don't serve their purpose for some people, right? Hey, it's like Jessica loves making, every once in a while, make some like keto cupcakes stuff. Like, she's got a whole keto baking book coming out, right? Like, we'll use some erythritol, which is a natural sweetener, with a monk fruit extract and like some stevia, stuff like that, selectively, because I don't really like the taste of stevia. I think it's kind of whack. But and in the Ketogenic Edge cookbook, we actually teach you how to bring out sweet flavors just using spices, right? There's an entire section on spice combination, teaching you how to bring out flavors, textures, just by surrounding it with other stuff. I mean, just by using some cinnamon and sea salt in the right way, you can bring out sweet flavors, which we demonstrate in the recipes that are in the Ketogenic Edge cookbook. None of them have any artificial sweeteners. There's none of like cornstarch crap, no maltodextrin, we don't even use erythritol in it. In this one, in the one that's going to come out in the baked goods book, in some of them there's some erythritol. Like, you guys probably seen the picture of that wild blackberry pie that she made. These are like trigger words for some people, but it's like, look, in certain situations and contexts, it's not like all carbs are bad, right? Or it's not like eating a piece of cake is bad. I think that even like just like a nice homemade cake, even if it's wheat, sugar, and all the other crap, like a nice homemade cake that your grandma made is not the same thing as the Disney candy bars that you buy at the tienda down the street. That's also selling your liquor and cigarettes, right? Okay. Eslam says, Tristan, what's your stand on fruits? I mean, they're full of carbs, and most of them are genetically engineered throughout the years. All right, they're not genetically engineered. All right, look, when you say genetically engineered, and you say that the food is genetically engineered, I'm kind of sick of. All right, Islam, I'm not coming at your statement, but this is just the dialogue, right? I see words on the screen. I respond. It's basically like I'm freaking talking to myself here the whole time. It's fun sometimes. Sometimes it gets a little crazy. No, I always enjoy it. I like talking to you guys and sharing. My stance on fruits, they're full of carbs, and most of them, you say, are genetically engineered throughout the years. Yes, most of the foods that we eat are domesticated and are modified to grow and to yield higher amounts, to not contain certain toxins and nutrients and make them hard to digest, and to make them more sugary or whatever. Does that mean that they're bad? No. There are also ants that cultivate fungus. They entire colonies of ants whose like ritualistically cultivate certain types of fungus and feed on them. There's this symbiotic relationship there, and they're modifying the fungus, and the fungus is modifying them, right? It's like, if you want to say that the foods are genetically modified, well, why don't you take the next step? And where did those genetically modified foods come from? What is the origin of these, right? Start getting like Göbekli Tepe, right? And these theories on the origins of agriculture. And you start looking at the mythology, at the oral traditions. Mythology, people have been loaded with the term that it just means fake stories made up, like fairy tales. No, that's the Disney shit. That's what your TV and news tells you. The mythologies are pointing to realities, and there's deeper, intricate truths that are enmeshed with the linguistic matrix that creates this reality that we live in, that are key in these mythologies. And some of this stuff's amazing. But yeah, the foods are GMO. They're genetically modified, you're saying, or genetically engineered. Well, then so are we. So is our entire society. And then, like, I guess the real cool question becomes, where did we learn agriculture? How did this start? And what are the real ramifications and changes that have happened since then? Because if you're saying that foods are genetically engineered, which just means they're genetically selected. You select the seeds, right? Like you look at any industry or agricultural products, seed selection for certain traits goes on. But that also happens in human breeding. Like Eslam Omar, you want a hot wife, right? Like when you have kids, you want it to, when you procreate, you want to have an attractive person to procreate with. That's also, but right. And then, all right, genetic selection. You've got genetic selection, but then you've got also like inserting fish genes into corn crops, or inserting genes that will create certain pesticides naturally in corn crops that will make pests' stomachs explode, or make them resistant to Roundup, which can then be sprayed all over it. Right. So, I mean, then there's different, when you say genetically engineered, that's different than like, the Monsanto crops where you're inputting animal and plant and, animal and fish and amphibian DNA into plant foods to change them. That's a little bit different to me than genetic selection of like, I want a sweeter banana, or those red bananas are awesome. I'm going to take some of those and cultivate those over here. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's like, if we're going to say, oh, I won't eat fruits because they're genetically engineered, then also like you shouldn't have sex and procreate because all the women are also genetically engineered by whatever it is that gave us agriculture, right? Because then that changed our genetic expression. This stuff is really fascinating. Like when you start to look at anthropology and history, the origins of agriculture, it's like, where did this come from? All right. Actually, in the Andean tradition, agriculture came about. The people were, there seems like there were, as a cyclical, epochal nature to their oral history. But in the current, like, incarnation, in the Andean history, like the pre-Inca times, stuff like that, agriculture was taught by seafaring people that came to the coast of Peru, landed in a certain area, and taught agriculture and other ways and other things, ways of building things and stuff like that to the people. And this is a funny common myth throughout most of the Americas of this, this foreign influence coming in, teaching agriculture. And a lot of times they described them as being bearded, and they called the one. There were two different cycles where this seemed to happen in the oral tradition of the Andes. One was called Viracocha, and he was a bearded man of pale skin, which the indigenous population of Peru and the Andes historically not bearded, most of them, and not fair-skinned. Most of them had darker skin, although there were some pockets of white-skinned, red-haired people and blonde-haired people with blue eyes also throughout Peru. Fascinating stuff. But yeah, this is where they say agriculture came from, here in the Andes. And before that, apparently they were not cultivating crops in the same way. But the Inca were also big on agriculture, right? I mean, that's the part, that was how the Inca were really big on creating community pools and collectives of these small dominated tribes who they would go and subjugate. They would force them into valleys and have them cultivate these valleys and move out of their homes in the mountains and the hills, live in the valleys and communal areas, and cultivate tracts of land together. That was a process that was ongoing up until the Spanish came, right? I mean, the Inca conquest was just as fascinating as the Spanish conquest, and they're both the same thing. The Spanish came right at the end of kind of the downfall of the Inca Empire. But yeah, no, that's fascinating. The history of agriculture, the effects of agriculture, these agricultural foods on our bodies. And of course, I'm not going to sit here and promote some like fantastical fake future where we're going back to the land and living in perfect harmony, right? But we have to take steps towards a sustainable present future. And to us, that means supporting not industrial waste foods, drinking fresh water, protecting water sources, which actually economically supporting organic food production does protect water sources, because the glyphosate and all these pesticides, neonicotinoids and stuff that seep into the water supply and destroy our water supply are coming from agriculture. So supporting organic agriculture and building our lives and our communities around habits that actually are restorative to life and promote life rather than destroy it is kind of what we're all about here. All right. Hobble Kitty says, I just want to say thanks, Tristan. You've been a major source of learning for me as I adapt to a keto lifestyle. Some of the most reasonable and sensible out there. Week 4, 12 pounds down so far. Hobble Kitty, good job. 12 pounds down in 4 weeks. That's awesome. Keep it up. And thank you. Mutant Stoner says, yo, Tristan, can you share your workout routine one day? I'm always looking for new workout stuff to do. I don't have a straight workout routine at all right now. Sometimes I'll do programming for myself, but I haven't programmed like a specific routine in over a year. So most of my movement is intuitive now. When I'm very busy, I'm not always on point with actually, getting in and moving my body like I should. But I really like kettlebells. I'm also really into baby tosses, baby bell swings. You could do some. Whoa. I don't know. So it's, I don't know. To me, meaningful movement's fun, right? Like I like we've got these little skateboards around the house. I'll jump on them, cruise around on those. It's just non-exercise activity that I do throughout the day that keeps me alive, that keeps me healthy, moving around, making sure to walk around. I mean, I like kettlebells. I also like lifting heavy weights, but it's not the best for my hips, for my posture. So I'm careful now with lifting heavy and with how often I go heavy. So yeah, I mean, I got no workout routine. I'm really into, what's it called though? Kettlebells. I like kettlebells. My favorite tools. Kettlebells and just like balls that you can throw around. And just walking around, hiking in the woods, sprinting, picking up a big heavy boy. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm going to put you down now. I'm going to talk to the screen more. All right. All right, I'm going to start wrapping this up, guys. It's been a while. Christine. What's up, Christine? Okay. Steve Wong says, your cookbook gave me the tools that I needed to make the change, and I can't be happier. I feel better, look better, and sleep better. Wow. Steve Wong. Steve Wong with the closer comment. That's so awesome. Let me read that again. Your cookbook gave me the tools that I needed to make the change, and I can't be happier. I feel better, look better, and sleep better. All right, so the cookbook he's talking about, that's available exclusively at our website, primaledgehealth.com. This book was over a year and a half in the making, while this guy, who keeps trying to climb under the desk and play with the printer, this guy was in her womb. She was working on this book for like a year and a half. It's finally out. We're stoked to have it out. We're so hyped to have such a positive feedback and have people like Luis Villasenor from Keto Gains, Tyler Cartwright from Keto Gains, just so many people giving us positive feedback. You know, we really appreciate everybody enjoying it. We put in a lot of work on it. It was a family affair. It was a family effort. And yeah, we're hyped to have it out. So the Ketogenic Edge Cookbook, that's available exclusively at primaledgehealth.com. You're not going to find it anywhere else. It's not on Amazon. I'm sorry. Not on Amazon. Jeff Bezos, you're not getting that money. You can only find that at primaledgehealth.com. We're a small family business. We do this all ourselves. We don't have publicists and all that stuff to get it out. But the feedback has been amazing, and we're just super hyped to have it out and have such good feedback. So Steve Wong, who says, your cookbook gave me the tools that I needed to make the change, and I can't be happier. Look, I'll pull you up. You see yourself right there, right? I can't be happier. I feel better, look better, and sleep better. Thanks, Tristan and Jessica, for simplifying this process. In a nutshell, I eat meats and salads. Hey, man, use the sauces section. What's up? What about the organ meat section? Did you check that out? The veggies section, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. He's saying, in a nutshell, I eat meats and vegetables, meats and salads. I feel like people are making this transition too complex. Right on. Steve Long says, been eating keto since January, dropped around 50 pounds. Already was cooking breakfast and dinner at home, so making the transition into keto meals using your cookbook just made a ton of sense. There you go. Steve Long, keep it up, man. Keep cultivating that healthy attitude. Keep enjoying the steps, and you down 50 pounds, right? That means you had a significant amount of weight to lose, and you've probably got more coming. So enjoy the ride, enjoy the new freedom you have, the new weight that was lifted off of your shoulders, that newfound lightness on your feet from the weight that was lifted off your shoulders. And yeah, enjoy all the blessings that you've been given. I'm taking off. You can find more at primaledgehealth.com. Bye, guys.